Welcome into the regularly scheduled Board of Health meeting for April 5th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Mr. Clerk, would you like to take us through the agenda this evening?
Sure would. So we have no appointments scheduled for hearings or appointments. 6 action items. Number 1, to appoint a hearing officer in response to the report presented by Town Council on March 31st, 2021. We have disposal work permits for 723 Pond Street, 117 Pleasant Street, 432 North Central Street, 73 Toddy Terrace, and 215 Whitman Street. Number 3, installers license, Clancy Contracting, which is renewal, and DBH Utility, which is new. Minutes of March 15th, 2021. And added in was number 5, renewal food service permit, Ashland Dairy Farm, and bills. R. Casper, B&D, WB Mason, Crystal Rock. Discussion items, COVID-19 updates, permitting, health agent updates, and reopening mass updates. And last but not least, recreational sports snack bars.
Great, thank you. With no scheduled appointments, we'll move into action items. Action is required to appoint a hearing officer in response to the report presented by Town Council on March 31st, 2021. For discussion. Tim?
Yeah, I think the Board of Health, having recused themselves from the investigation to the issues pertaining to the commercial club, should have a autonomous party that's not a member of the board or a former member or potentially a future member with an election coming up as a hearing officer in response to that report. And I'd like to ask, through you, Mr. Chair, if Jamie Kenney, Labor Council, can give us a description or a brief update on how this process would go.
Certainly, please. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. So, I think at this point in time, the best and most prudent, course of action would be to have an independent hearing officer make a determination as to disciplinary action, if at all, regarding the results of the report. I don't want to go into the facts and circumstances that brought us to the report, but I do think that at this point in time, that's the most prudent action to make sure that we have, a full adjudicatory hearing regarding any personnel actions, and that we have an independent hearing officer make that determination.
Great. And is there any recommendations from Town Council regarding a town hearing officer?
So we have a couple of different options that we can employ. You have a brand-new interim town administrator who I just spoke to about whether or not he would be comfortable serving as a hearing officer. Well, we're already expending the money to pay for somebody to do that. That would be a natural choice because he doesn't have any conflicts, and I asked him to step out of the room when we were discussing this at the public meeting the other evening to make sure that he didn't have any advanced knowledge of these facts. So I think he would be a natural choice, and he would be a choice that I believe would be financially prudent because we wouldn't be paying an outside hearing officer. Outside hearing officer rates, like council rates, are generally, around $200 an hour. So in terms of having a full adjudicatory hearing, it could be quite costly, depending on how long it goes.
Absolutely. Any further questions for Town Council?
I do. So that, Mr. Kenney, that hearing would be a private hearing?
Correct, a
not
private
public
hearing, yep.
Okay.
And what is the background of the new town administrator? Is he a local person or?
No, he's not. So he is somebody who served for many years in many different towns as town administrator. In the last 10 years since he's retired, I think it's been 11 years that he's retired, and he's served as an interim in 10 different municipalities. So that's basically what he's been doing since he's been retired, is kind of helping towns
Filling
out
in.
while they find a full permanent replacement.
Excellent. I certainly, I think that the incoming town administrator would probably be the best and conservative option as well. So I will entertain a motion from the board to appoint a hearing officer in response to the investigation from town council.
I will make that motion and add to it that that would be the hearing officer would be Jim Purcell, who is the interim town administrator.
Correct. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward, action is required to pass disposal work permits as presented. Do we have an update on the addresses? Sue?
So the addresses listed in front of you are the current addresses.
Excellent. For discussion.
So I can make a motion to approve 723 Pond, 117 Pleasant, 432 North Central, and 73 Toddy Terrace now, and then have Mr. Furbuck discuss with us 215 Whitman Street, which apparently might have some issues with the Conservation Commission.
Okay,
Not necessarily our issues, but I know there are some questions out there.
so a motion is made to pass 723 Pond Street, 117 Pleasant Street, 432 North Central Street, and 73 Tardy Terrace as presented.
I second.
Seconded by Lisa, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And for discussion on 215 Whitman Street, Bob?
Yep, so 215 Whitman Street is the old Jehovah's Witness building. It was purchased by a gentleman, and he's proposed to put 5 units in there, 4 two-bedroom units, 1 one-bedroom unit. And the concern with conservation, I believe, is the gallons per day that need to be allocated for it, and the proximity to the wetlands, and the fact that this falls under what's called an upgrade. So there's 2 codes in Title V. One is for new construction, which none of this would be able to happen on that site because the soils would never support it, because you have to actually have 2 perk tests where you have to pour water. This is an upgrade to an existing structure, same as if it was your home that was built on the clay banks and there's no perk test available. You're allowed to take a soil sample. This particular engineer took a soil sample because we were out there several times. We couldn't find an area where soils would support anything. The soils came back very poor. However, under Title V, under the code, under the upgrade section of the code, you're allowed the gallons per day that were previously there, but not exceed those gallons per day that were previously there. So this gentleman is looking for 990 gallons per day, 9 bedrooms. What was there prior was 200, so Title V breaks out how many gallons per day you have to allocate. A bedroom is 110. A seat in a house of worship, if that house of worship has a kitchen, is 6 gallons per day. The Jehovah's Witness building had 225 seats in it, plus it had a kitchen. So that's 1,350 gallons a day. It also had a 1-bedroom apartment. That's 110 gallons a day. So that's a total gallons per day that they could not exceed with their application for the disposal works permit of 1,460. So they're only looking for 990, so they're looking for about 470 gallons per day less. I'm not real concerned, I'm not really sure what the objection is to conservation, if there is one. But this particular applicant had a regular Title V system designed, which I approved prior to the current design that you're signing tonight. Conservation asked them to go back and put a treatment plan in. Well, a treatment plan is a smaller version of what we operated for the school department. It's monitored twice a year. The effluent that comes out of it is clear. It has no odor, no smell if it's running properly. And the owner of the property went back and had a total redesign done at no small expense, I might add, and submitted it to the conservation. And now they came up with the fact that they're concerned that it should fall under new construction. As far as I know, they didn't mention that prior to the redesign. So you'd have to ask them. So I recommend approval on it. There's nothing in Title V that allows me to not approve this application. Water usage records are meaningless in this case because there is a use identified by Title V, 6 gallons a seat per day.
Thank you, Bob. Any further
Yeah,
discussion?
so Bob, so a change in use, going from assembly, which is the house of worship, to residential, does not apply here.
Nope, it's all about the gallons per day, because that's how much the soil will accept.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know
so,
we talked earlier
so
about
basically, if you had a house in a commercial district and you wanted to turn it into a gym, it would go by the gallons per day that that site would support. So if you had 330 gallons a day and you want to turn it into a daycare and you need 600 gallons a day, you got to go get 2 perk tests. You can't do it with a sieve test. You can't increase, you can only, you can decrease, but the plan you just signed is a decrease for the North Central. That was a foster home. I think that was designed for 11 bedrooms. And the person that's purchasing it now doesn't need an 11-bedroom. They only want the 6 bedrooms. So that's up on North Central Street, backs up to 225 West Union. So that's unusual, but this is not unusual.
So are they using the existing Jehovah's structure, or are they tearing it down?
They are using the existing structure.
And is it rentals, or is it like condos? Do we know what the units are going to be?
I don't know.
All right.
Whether
What
he's
about-
going to maintain control of it and use it as apartments, or whether they're going to turn them into condos, or whether he's going to get it permitted and sell the whole thing. Really immaterial to my decision.
Thank you. Anything further?
I do not know.
I will entertain a motion to pass 215 Whitman Street as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Tim,
Aye.
Tim, you made a motion? Okay.
I didn't, but I will.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Action is required for installer license, Clancy Construction renewal. For discussion?
It's just a renewal of their septic installer's license.
All right.
Make a motion to approve?
Motion made by Lisa,
Second?
second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Action is required to pass the minutes of the March
Oop.
15th.
Wait a minute, you
missed
missed one.
You missed DBH
Oh,
Utility.
and action is required for installer licenses for DBH Utility.
That they're a new company that passed the test. They're going to be doing the work up on the 10 lots up on Central Street.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to
Motion
approve.
made by Tim, seconded
Second.
by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Action is required to pass the minutes of the March 15th, 2021 meeting.
If you didn't get a chance to read them today, it's been a crazy week. So if
Yep.
you didn't get a chance to read them today, I can put them on for next week, assuming, it really depends on who's sitting here next week, whether or not we can vote on them, but we can put it off till next week. I don't want you to vote on something you haven't read, so you haven't read them then.
I have not seen them,
Yeah,
so.
so they're in your email, but they just got there today. So that's why
Okay.
I said in the email, we can put it off till next week.
I'll entertain a motion to table this.
Yep, we'll put it till next week.
All right, added action items. Action is required for renewal food service permit, Ashland Dairy Farm. For discussion?
They're going to open on Thursday. I emailed Mr. Casper to do a pre-opening inspection for them.
Excellent. Ashland is obviously from about April to
October usually.
October usually, right across from the Y. We'll entertain a motion to
Made.
pass. Motion made by Tim,
Second.
seconded by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Action is required to pass bills for discussion.
I have an invoice from Robert Casper for 9 food service inspections, B&D, who does our syringe disposal, WB Mason for the refrigerator, that's actually going to come out of the CARES Act, that was our vaccine refrigerator, and Crystal Rock, which is just the water cooler.
I make a motion to approve?
Motion made by Lisa. We have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor? Aye. For discussion, COVID-19 updates. Sue, do you,
So you saw I posted, and I saw that you shared that, we're back into the yellow for the second week in a row last week. As of today, I had 47 confirmed cases for the last 2 weeks, and I think 5 probable with 2 days left in reporting, so we'll, be in the yellow again, hopefully not cusping on the red. I don't think we're there yet. But the last 2 or 3 days have shown a slowdown again, so we'll see what happens after Easter. With the good weather yesterday, I'm hoping everybody celebrated safely outside. So we'll have to wait and see. There's not you know, I posted also today, the vaccines are now available to anyone 16 and older with one underlying health condition. That's also posted on the website and the Facebook page, and there's a whole list of them. A couple have been added. And then in just 3 weeks, it's anyone 16 and over is eligible.
Which is certainly promising news, and we're happy to see that coming down the line.
I want to add that last Thursday, we
Yep.
did the second doses for the housing for the elderly on Prospect Street and Rydell Road. Again, very successful again. We were able to do it in an hour's shorter time.
With
And-
one less person.
Yeah, with one less person, one less vaccinator. And today, they were able to go out, 2 firefighters went out and vaccinated 10 people who were homebound, that went off without a hitch as we planned. So that population now is, well, in 14 days will be considered fully vaccinated from the date of their second shot, so that's good news.
Miles, I just want to add, was he just said homebound, and anyone that's watching at home might say, wait a minute, I'm homebound, and I didn't get one. We had a list of the homebound patients that we got through Old Colony Elder Services, and we had to use any excess doses from housing for people like that. So that's what we did. Since then, the state has now got this at-home vaccination contract with, I think it's community, I want to say it's like CCI or something, but it's a group that's going out and doing all their homebound vaccinations. And we did sign up for their support so that if anybody additional is homebound out there that we did not know about additionally, they can still get a homebound vaccination if they qualify. And we've had a couple calls, and we've given out the phone number to call them for a vaccination. So people that are homebound, there's still a chance for you to get a shot.
Excellent, thank you, Sue.
And Sue, moving forward, and correct me if I'm wrong, the odds of local boards of health getting vaccines to be able to do town populations is
Pretty low.
not non-existent like it was, but, I mean, it's a little bit better, but still, don't rely on that. Don't wait to, if you're gonna get a
No,
vaccine,
register.
get a
register.
vaccine you can get through the state, because
Yeah.
I don't anticipate there's gonna be enough vaccines to pass out to 351 local boards of health across the Commonwealth, so.
And we have partnered up with Bridgewater State University. We had a webinar or a Zoom call with them last week. They're not high on the list for a site, but they're on the list. And they're still working on making that a state vaccination site, probably not until phase 3, but it'll be a little closer for people in this area. So if that ever happens, we'll be sure to get the word out.
Any further discussion regarding COVID-19 updates? No? Thank you. Moving forward to discussion regarding prom permitting.
So
Is this, Sue?
So it's actually, I want to table that just because the initial thought was talk about having you waive the fees for food trucks and everything to go to the prom, but I have to have a follow-up conversation with Ms. Legault on Wednesday just to double check on what the actual prom is going to look like. I talked to Mr. Silver this week. I sent them the guidance. I just want to make sure they understand the guidance. And Mr. Silver has actually said that he'd be happy to come in and talk to the board before the prom about what their plan is to keep everybody safe, because I know, there are a couple of concerned parents out there, and we certainly want them to be able to have it, but safely.
Absolutely. And,
So I think, just until I know for sure exactly, I don't want to ask you guys to support something when you don't know what it is you're supporting.
Thank you. Health agent updates. Bob, do you have anything to present?
Pretty much 215 was what I had to talk about. Beaver Dam, still needs reconstruction. He'll be out to take care of that, and he'll be out to put a pond level device on the mill at the corner of Elm Street and Highland Street. But we don't have his proposal yet, so.
Thank you.
Wait till the water gets a little warmer, maybe.
Any questions for Bob from the board?
Nope.
Reopening Massachusetts updates.
The only thing is I did email Lisa today, I'm not sure if you got a chance to look at it. There had been a question with spring sports coming up, and actually this falls into number 4 and 5, about snack bars. And so on the conference call Friday, they did indicate snack bars do have to follow restaurant guidance. They need a separate seating and eating area, so you can't grab a hot dog and eat it on the deck or in the bleachers. You need to have a little separate seating area. And I was actually just down Church Street this weekend. It looks like they actually, Church Street has something
They
like that,
redid it,
yeah.
Yes.
I did email that to Lisa, and then when I find out who is in charge of snack bars and stuff, we can, there's the school snack bar, there's Church Street, does Belmont Street have one? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Strongfield, do they have one?
No.
And then the other thing was, we had talked about, it had been brought up before that maybe we need to inspect the snack bars, which I don't think we have done in the past because they're community volunteers, so, with, all of this,
So I know East Bridgewater Little League had reached out first about the parade, which I had told them that was
Yep.
not a go.
Yep.
And then about an opening day, which I said, in theory, that could be a possibility, but all the regulation and criteria that would go into something like that is probably not worth the opening day per se. So I think they are going to waive that as well. Their sports bar, I guess, due to the closing and the quarantine over the past year, has been totally revamped and redone, and he said he thinks everything would pass fine. He just wanted to get the particulars as far as they have the sliding window, so would they need plexiglass? And I was like, I don't really think so, because you shut the window, like, I don't know how the plexiglass would
Yeah.
facilitate that. I said there'd probably be a minimal as to how many people can volunteer to work, because they have to keep their distance.
Right.
And then I know he's looking into possibly at the end of the summer doing some sort of a Little League tournament in town, but he's going to meet before the Board of Selectmen before they come to us. Soccer, I think they're off, I don't think they do local in the spring with the snack bar, I'm not sure,
I don't know.
but there's not one
Yeah.
at Strong.
My kids are all grown up.
Yeah, Strong doesn't have a snack bar, and I know the school snack bar is pretty much, they don't do much over the summer, so it would basically just be baseball at this point.
Okay.
Great. Any further questions regarding reopening or the snack bars?
Just a quick question, so like soccer, could a food truck do that? Because we always have the food truck that comes to town hall.
Yep, as long as they take the
I
food sick.
think that what their goal is for the snack bar is that it generates revenue for the leagues.
Right.
So if they do the food truck, that eliminates
right.
their, so it's not so much that they want to provide food and beverage to the patrons, it's more so that that's how they generate a lot of their
Got it.
surplus to run the programs.
Got it.
Anything further to come before the board this evening? Tim, I'd like to thank you for your time served here on the Board of Health over the last couple of months.
Thanks, Miles.
Very, very much appreciated.
Appreciate
And
that.
we certainly will continue to rely on your insight going forward, even though you won't be on the board anymore.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Made by Tim,
Second?
by Lisa. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.